Do you ever wonder why God let a particular relationship go wrong? Have you ever felt discouraged because you couldn't make that relationship work? There are reasons God may have let your past relationship go wrong. It's not because He doesn't care about you. It's more likely that it was the only way for you to learn some necessary lessons. God doesn't let bad things happen to people. He uses His perfect timing and His perfect ways to deal with all of our close relationships. Some relationships are like that. God uses them to teach us something we need to learn so that He can bring a better relationship into our lives later on. I know people who had a bad experience with dating, but then went on to have a wonderful marriage because God taught them important lessons through that failed relationship. They didn't hold on to bitterness or anger against the person they were involved with then, and they got on with their lives. We get hurt in relationships because we made bad choices or because the other person didn't live up to their part of the relationship. God doesn't let relationships go bad because He wants us to get hurt. It's more likely that He let it go wrong so we could learn something vital if we allow Him to do so. We need to look at why our past relationships didn't work out so we can make sure we don't repeat our mistakes in the future. Now, let's look at 4 reasons God may have allowed your past relationship to go wrong. Number 1, to teach you about forgiveness. Let's say your boyfriend or girlfriend breaks up with you. Sometimes we blame God for letting that relationship go wrong because we feel like He didn't bless us enough in that relationship. Or maybe we feel like God should have healed our hurt instead of dealing with it. But what if the reason you got hurt was so that you could learn to be more forgiving? We shouldn't hold on to bitterness when someone hurts us. Instead, we should learn to forgive them and move on. God deals with us mercifully and graciously, but He doesn't do so in our place. He doesn't take away our hurt, but rather uses it to teach us how to forgive. And when we learn to forgive, we open the door for God to heal us and comfort us in His way and in His own time. Forgiveness is one of the most important lessons we need to learn in our relationships. When someone hurts us, it's easy to hold on to that hurt and to view the person who caused it as our enemy. But if we don't forgive, we'll only end up hurting ourselves. Number 2, God will allow you to be hurt if it's necessary for your more profound healing. Now, here's the part that might surprise you. Sometimes being hurt in a relationship can help us grow spiritually and emotionally. Some people went through painful and damaging relationship experiences that God used to bring about a significant change in their lives. The pain of breaking up with someone you liked brings you down to your knees and makes you realize that you're not in control. It can be a humbling experience and make you know that you need God in your life. When we go through something painful, we often start to question our beliefs. We may even begin to doubt God's existence. But if we allow ourselves to go through the pain and to feel it fully, we may also find that our faith is strengthened. We may realize that we need God more than ever before, and that He is the only one who can truly comfort us in our time of need. If you can handle the pain and learn from it, then you'll experience healing and growth. But if you react to this pain in an unhealthy way, if you don't forgive and instead hold on to bitterness, you won't grow spiritually or emotionally. One of the main ways God heals people is through how He deals with their wounds through life's painful experiences and circumstances. If we allow Him to, God can bring healing as a result of the pain we go through. And sometimes this healing is more effective than passively enduring the pain. Number 3, to prepare you for a future built on solid foundations. God may allow you to be hurt in a relationship so that you'll learn not to repeat the same mistakes later. If your past relationship didn't work out, It's probably because some foundational issues only became apparent when your relationship started to crumble. God often uses our difficult life experiences as stepping stones to take us to the next stage of our lives. He knows that marriage is the foundation of a stable family, so He wants us to learn how to create a solid relationship before we get married. When you're single, you get to practice dating and all the lessons that come along with it. But when you marry and enter into a relationship, there will be less room to make mistakes you can learn from. This is why it's important to learn from your past relationships, even if they ended badly. If you can identify the mistakes you made and figure out how to avoid them in future relationships, then you'll be setting yourself up for success in marriage. Number 4, so that you can have a more intimate relationship with God. When we go through difficult times in our relationships, it can be easy to turn away from God. We may feel like He's abandoned us or that He doesn't care about us. But the truth is that God is always with us, even when we don't feel His presence. And sometimes it's during these tough times that we grow closer to Him. When you're in a relationship with someone, it's easy to take them for granted. But when that relationship ends, you're left feeling alone and vulnerable. This can be a time when you start to question your faith and seek God out more intentionally. As you search for answers, you may find that your relationship with God deepens and becomes more intimate. No matter what you're going through in your relationships, remember that God is with you. He knows what you're going through, and He wants to help you. If you allow Him to, He will use your pain and hurt to bring about healing and growth in your life. When we're in a relationship, we need to be honest with ourselves and the other person. We should never try to be someone we're not. We should always communicate openly and honestly. If we can do these things, then we're more likely to have healthy, successful relationships.